Hey folks, it's Cameron from the Brushfire Mind, and this is coffee. If you check out the link down below in the description, you can find ways to support us by buying us more coffee. Okay, thanks.
All right. That's
That was a blast from the past.
wasn't it though? Weird thing happening right now. I go ahead and unmute your camera there, Cameron. For some reason, it's not letting me switch to the screen there. And we are just kind of stuck on the thumbnail. So I guess just start talking, Cameron. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, bro. I had some pretty hair. Like
there we are.
I wouldn't even attempt to grow that back out now. There's a little more bald and a lot more gray. Like that was the last gasp of Samson right there.
I don't know what's going on with it. I can't switch it's not letting me switch scenes the way it's supposed to. But I see Fish and Golf is with us, and there's our buddy Patrick, and Uncle Steve's with us.
Yeah, we've been doing a stream on Thanksgiving for years now, talking about A, what we're thankful for, and B, sort of the myths and the truths of the history of Thanksgiving in this country. And of course, something went wrong, so we're a few minutes late this morning. But hey, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. It is not a day where we celebrate the European genocide of the Native Americans. It is it is
no, but I will be having Thanksgiving dinner with my wife today, and so culturally relevant, we can celebrate the genocide of the Arapahoes together.
Yeah. Look, man. Okay, I didn't think the show was going to be this dark this early, but it's funny.
It's December in Georgia, the sun, and it's just barely after 7:30. The sun's not even really up yet.
Well, it's just most of the real genocides and terrible things that happen tend to happen with your neighbors, not from somebody with some distant, far off land. Like, that whole rape of Nanking thing, like Japan is right there. It's a relatively narrow sea between Japan and China. And then ditto with Rwanda and Bosnia and everything that's ever happened in North Africa. And like, and yes, here in America, you want to know who really, really, really just messed up some Native Americans? It was other Native Americans. They were. I mean, look, some of them were nice, and some of them would practice throwing knives as fast as they could, because not only was it a terrible way to die, they understood it was intimidating.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, it's Thanksgiving. We've got a lot to be thankful for this year. I tell you one thing I'm super thankful for this year is Kamala Harris.
Okay,
because
set up.
Almost literally any other Democrat could have had a chance.
I know. That's the funny thing.
I think if Joe had stayed on the ticket, he still would have lost, but he might not have lost as miserably.
Well, ordinarily, I would actually agree with that, but no, man. After that debate performance, like even that debate performance was so bad, like it penetrated the leftist. It penetrated the leftist bubble. Like there are still leftists even now that are like, oh my God, Hitler and just the end of democracy and Handmaid's Tale and all that, but that debate performance just punched right on through. Hey, so I'm gonna say the first thing I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for pork necks. Guys, trust me when I tell you, okay? Go to Walmart or your local butcher shop or whatever, get some pork necks, rub them down with olive oil, Then hit them with a generous portion of salt and red pepper flakes and roast them in the oven somewhere around 375, 400 degrees. You want them to get some nice color on the outside of them. Almost burnt, not burnt, almost burnt. You really want that Maillard reaction to kick in. Then you take them out of the oven, and they are, frankly, delicious on their own. But then when it comes time to, oh man, what am I going to put in the pot of collard greens, or what am I going to put in? Like in my case, I've got a pot of butter beans that has actually been going since last night in the crock pot that has some of those roasted pork neck bones in it, and it is going to be delicious. So yes, I'm thankful for the cheap cuts of meat. They're very tasty.
Indeed. We've got somebody else looking to pop in here. Let me see what we got here. Reverend
Good
Turner.
morning. Good morning. It is I, Reverend Turner. By the way, Cameron, I'm disgusted by the fact that you bring up Capicolo on the day that I'm lopping as a Protestant. Anyway, thankful this Thanksgiving, if you wish. But what of the last 4 years?
What of them?
I propose, instead of being grateful, perhaps seek vengeance. This Thanksgiving, remember, you'll be surrounded by shitlibs from your family at the table. People who have sneered upon you for 4 years. People who have since January 6th accused you of treason and being insurrectionists against your own country. People who forced you, manipulated you to take vaccines against your will. I think not. Thankful? Make this a Thanksgiving to remember. I've put together a few tips on how to make this a very memorable Thanksgiving. If you would like, I will proceed.
Please do.
First,
I'm sure nothing can go wrong.
well, as a proper Christian man, we must begin the meal by saying grace. You will volunteer to say grace, and you will drop Matthew chapter 10, verses 34 through 36. Don't assume that I came to bring peace on the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I came to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies will be the members of his household. Do you know what that means? That means that the enemies closest to home are in fact in your home, those who would seek to disgrace and sully you for mere politics. So, what shall we do? What shall we do to these wayward members of your flock? First, put a piece of MAGA merchandise in plain view of the table but out of reach. That way they cannot claw at it. They cannot get rid of it. This will passively deal 1 psychic damage to them per turn, as they are forced to stare at the visage of Trump or his merchandise without reprieve. Secondly, if extended relatives arrive and they have a single child, you can console that single child by telling him it's too bad that Roe versus Wade wasn't repealed earlier. Maybe you could have had a sibling to play with. If a member of your family saw fit to bring someone from a foreign shore to your table, if an immigrant is present, ask him, so, do you think you'll make it to next Thanksgiving? Prior to dinner, as you wander the halls of your home, arrange it with one of your MAGA enthusiast brethren that when the shitlib may walk upon you suddenly, act as if you were engaging in a spirited conversation and end it on the spot with yes, but next time with guns. You can passively wisecrack to any pets in the house that they're now safe from the Haitians. If a shitlib breeding age female is present at your table, roll a handwritten note in her linen napkin that says, "Your body's our choice." She will see it just before eating her food and will spoil the meal for her. If your own mother is a shitlib, nitpick every dish that contains seed oils and blame any malady that you have on the food she served you as a child. Remind everyone at the table that you are unvaxxed indeed, and you regret nothing. Question everyone's vax status. 2 shots? 4 shots? Why your lack of faith? If a mixed race couple is present at your table, ask if they have a bone marrow match ready in case their unnatural child were to get cancer. If there are shitlib parents at your table in general, teach their children privately to do the Trump dance, that they may torment them privately even after the meal. These are my tips to make this a very special Thanksgiving.
Well, all right then.
Go ahead, Kim.
I am. I'm going to go have Thanksgiving dinner with 100% Trump supporters. So most of what you have suggested is not going to apply.
So it's just you and your brother then? Come on,
progeny. Lack of progeny means lack of blessing and grace.
No. Children are going to be there. I'm actually going to be having dinner with one of my exes. That's why I have beans in the pot out there with the neck bones in them that are delicious. You could judge me all you want. Like, only God can judge me. Yeah, and I've already asked for forgiveness for the pig. Swine flesh is delicious.
I'm a big fan of the swine flesh myself. Hey, real quick, Cameron, just a production note. I noticed you said only the Rumble Studio participants can see this. If you look there where it says, where you look at the bar where you put your message in, there's a little selector tab right there. You should be able to switch it over to all or to any of the platforms that we're on.
Okay.
See what I'm talking about?
No, but we'll figure that out later.
And the other production note, just real quick, because Steve Rodemeyer mentioned it. I see what you mean, Steve. It says verified only on chat for X. I will take a look at that later and figure out how to change that so that even you nubs out there that aren't paying for your X account, you freeloaders can talk on the show occasionally, or maybe not. Maybe I just want pure capitalists. Because, I live in the united oligarchy of capitalism where the dollar is almighty God and possessions are 9/10 of your commandments.
Look, no, having people just watch is fine, man. The next time Rumble wants you to do an ad read, even if it's for Rumble and even if it's for 2 cents a participant or whatever, bro, jump on it. Like, it's a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So yes, it is. It is.
The journey of $1 million begins with but 1 shekel.
Yeah. That's yeah. So it is Thanksgiving, and
I could just make a few minor adjustments to this costume, and I can be a rabbi next time. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Mario, move your mic a little closer to your face hole.
Yeah, so we can hear him breathe.
I don't have a good microphone. Okay. Cope.
Yeah, look. Yeah, see, there's this place called Best Buy. And yes.
And we would all be thankful for your acquisition of an adequate mic.
Yeah.
Right. Anyhow, so it's Thanksgiving. So just a couple of things. One, we're kind of the anti-1619 project around here because
White people were the best thing that ever happened to America. True.
Well, specifically the people that came over. We're talking about people that, they were white, but they happened to be white because they came from Europe. What they really were were people that were so disgusted with their life in Europe, which was a relatively comfortable place to live at that time, despite all of the, the fact that it was 400 years ago. They wanted to be able um, to have actual freedom of speech as we understand it. And they wanted it so that they could exercise their faith. They didn't want to be bound by the doctrines of the Church of England and the doctrines of Catholicism.
Yeah, a key difference between the modern American and the modern Brit is the modern American is the genetic and intellectual descendant of the people who did not say, "This is fine. This is fine. I can put up with this. I can continue to suffer these abuses."
I've seen studies where researchers tie it to like ADHD, okay, like attention deficit disorder, and those who migrated furthest away from like Mesopotamia are the ones with the highest rates of ADHD because they wouldn't basically sit still where they were. It was an interesting study I read. But yes, the people who, I mean, look, I love the people back home in the old country, okay, in the United Kingdom, but damn, like that island needs some help right now. I hope Trump does something diplomatically where basically they're persona non grata. They're basically shamed amongst nations to the point where we won't cooperate them unless Keir Starmer like steps down, or they call snap elections. They might lose at this point if they just called snap elections in the UK, because it's god awful what's happening there.
So Thanksgiving, but I promise I'm going somewhere. Like,
yeah, bring it on.
Okay. So Thanksgiving has a bit of a history. First things first, the myth that we were taught in school that the Pilgrims came over and they were functionally retarded, and if it weren't for the Indians coming along and teaching them how to eat corn and turkey, that there would be no America. And like so many other things, there is a grain of truth to that. The Native Americans definitely did teach them some things about the land and engaged in trade and did show them some things about how shit works here on this continent. But just kind of on the surface of it, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get on a boat and I'm gonna go like 1,000 miles across an ocean and spend 2 months at sea and just have no plan for when we get there. Yeah, that's not how that works. That's not how anybody would do anything. Also, one thing that and we can of course thank Rush Limbaugh for this. One of the very first governments that was instituted here was actually a pretty socialist government, and we're talking about the colony that was founded by William Bradford. And when they made their compact on their way here, and they said, okay, how's shit going to work when we get there? They said, we're going to take the land, we're going to divide it up evenly, and we're going to have a common storehouse, and everybody's going to contribute to the common storehouse, and everybody's going to be able to pull from the common storehouse whatever they need. It was disastrous. Their first year, about half the colonists died, including William Bradford's wife. And so in year 2, William Bradford said, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Everybody can do what they want. And if they have any excess, they can trade the excess. And it turned the corner for the colony almost immediately. Turns out that when people are allowed to work and earn at their own pace, they decide the correct pace at which they will work and earn. When bread is stolen from the mouth of labor, you disincentivize everyone. William Bradford wrote in his journal that one of the biggest frustrations is the and I'm paraphrasing here, but that the youngest, strongest, fittest men, the ones who should have contributed the most to the storehouse, were the ones that proved to be unreliable over and over again. And Well, of course, of course they did, because you're stealing their labor and they were not happy about it. I
I want to bring up what Unverified Bear is saying. Yes, he's correct. The Puritans were thrown out of England because they out Cromwelled Cromwell, one of the most insufferable men to ever to ever rule the English people. Yeah.
And look, Thanksgiving was not a national holiday from day one. Early in this nation's history, it was suggested that we have a day of giving thanks. And it was very much a spiritual day where you thanked God for the bounty that we had been given. Like, large portions of America obviously were completely undeveloped, hard to live in. Like, could you imagine that first winter in a land where nobody knows anything about it, and there's like bears and and some friendly Indian tribes, but some hostile as shit Indian tribes as well. Like, there's that would have been rough. You want to talk about the leap of faith that would have been required to even get on that boat, to say, you know what, I'm literally gonna put everything on the line, or in this case on a boat, and sail to a brand new place and just hope I can make it. That's a huge leap of faith. Thanksgiving wasn't even really recognized as a holiday for the first 100 years of our nation's history. And the way that we understand Thanksgiving didn't even...
October 3rd, 1863, Lincoln.
That's right. That's right. So, and Thanksgiving, as we understand it, isn't even 200 years old yet.
Right.
So, just remember that as you're thankful today, and we had a bit of fun with Mario because let's have some fun. But this is supposed to be a day where you really think about what you have, the people that you have it with. There's a reason why you are encouraged to get together with family that you don't see that often. Hell, family that you might just barely tolerate because maybe they are blue-haired shitlibs, it's because you probably wouldn't exist if it weren't for that family. Every descendant that came before you that worked and toiled and suffered and went through unimaginable agonies brought you to this point where we have things like air conditioning and antibiotics and Facebook and all of the other cute little modern conveniences that we have. It's worth it to be thankful for them. I'm thankful for my ex. I love my children very much. They wouldn't exist if it weren't for my ex. So I am going to go over to her house. I'm bringing sides. I'm bringing my butter beans. I'm bringing cookies. I'm bringing the green bean casserole. And bitches, let me tell you about green bean casserole, okay? You can follow that recipe that's on the back of the French's Onion container. You could do that, and it will make a serviceable green bean casserole. Or you could get fresh green beans, fresh heavy whipping cream, chicken stock, mushrooms, and onions, and actually bake the damn thing yourself. I promise, I could tell you which one is better. But I'm going to be thankful, and I'm even going to be thankful for my ex, and I'm going to go over there with a smile on my face with some roasted garlic mashed potatoes and some cookies and the green beans and the butter beans, and it's going to be fan-freaking-tastic.
What's going to happen, Cameron, when I go into your pantry and I pull out multiple bags of instant potatoes? What's going to happen when I expose you?
Oh, look, there's nothing wrong with instant potatoes. Look,
yes,
it depends on what you use them for. Let me be crystal clear. Everything can be used and has a place. Now, if you come over to my house and I tell you that I'm making you roasted garlic mashed potatoes, that's because I have a bulb of garlic currently roasting in the oven. Well, not currently because I don't want to forget about it while we're in the show, but you know what I mean. Um,
Let me ask you this: we do a special. There's every family's got some kind of unique recipe, right? With their Thanksgiving meal. For me, it's the one that I've never seen anyone else do is creamed onions. Do you do creamed onions?
We don't for Thanksgiving dinner, but I've had it before and it's delicious.
Yeah. Basically, it's probably the worst prep work. Like, because you have to peel the little pearl onions, which is awful. I actually use a garlic press to do it. And you basically you boil them like any other New England food. We boil it first, and
so you ruin it before you fix it.
Ruin it, and then we add a shit ton of salt, pepper, butter, and cream, and make it delicious again.
I worked for a chef who told me, he said, no. Look, you want to make your food taste good? You have 3 options: fat, salt, or sugar. Preferably some of all 3. That's how you make your food taste good. And that's just a fact.
Yep. And I tend to stick with fat and salt and skip the sugar as much as possible.
Yeah, he used to, when he made escarole, he would add olive oil and butter to it.
Yep.
And the GM of the restaurant came by, and his name was Mike, and she said, "Mike, what? It's supposed to be the healthy option." And he goes, "No, it's supposed to be the tasty option." So that's why I put butter and olive oil in the escarole. So anyhow, I've talked a lot, and
it's actually butter is the healthy option.
Yeah, funny enough, every time you try and substitute things out, I had a roommate once who would buy like the light sour cream, and I don't know how light sour cream even exists because it's sour cream. And what she would do is she would just pile this stuff on her food. And I wasn't even trying to be a dick. One day I just told her, I said, you could get the real sour cream and use half as much and probably come out ahead. And she was offended at my suggestion.
Yeah, but, well, and somebody like that, she never actually gave the nutritional side of it any thought. She wanted to lose weight, and her entire diet plan was trust the advertiser. Which,
well, it's like Donald Trump famously said, "I've never seen a skinny person drink Diet Coke."
Yeah.
Look, I worked at McDonald's all through high school, and I can't tell you how many people would come in and they'd be like, "I want a double quarter pounder, add mayonnaise, supersized, but with a Diet Coke." And it was like, oh, hold up. The problem might not be the beverage. Of course, now that we understand more things about sugar, the problem might actually be the beverage. So, fair enough. But still, don't see lots of skinny folks drinking Diet Coke.
Well, and you're not making a choice between Coca-Cola and Diet Coca-Cola. You're making a choice between diabetes and cancer.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. I'm eating my 3rd Whopper without cheese. I'm exercising portion control.
I've got no cheese on my Whoppers. It's the same as doing push-ups. Look at how I martyr myself. So, and I'm glad one of you mentioned Big Macs and McDonald's, because one of the things I'm thankful for, obviously, I'm very thankful that Donald Trump won this election. And part of his campaign was that brilliant McDonald's stunt. So
yeah.
a little bit of a stretch to segue that into this conversation, but I'm glad that I've got Mario here to have this conversation with, because Mario, you've been there. You've seen this. I've got a bunch of veterans in the chat. Been there, seen this. For most soldiers under the rank of about E6 or 7, you don't get to spend a lot of time having conversations with the senior leadership, with the colonel, with the sergeant major, with the battalion and brigade guys. But Thanksgiving and Christmas, if you are one of those soldiers who, by the way, thank you for your service. I've had a lot of holidays that I didn't get to come home for. I had Thanksgiving dinner in Afghanistan. I had Christmas dinner in Hawaii. And that's, it's tough when you can't make it home for a holiday. But one of the old traditions, one of the oldest traditions in the Army, in the military, but the Army is especially dedicated to it, is the senior leadership, the E9s, the 06s and 7s, the commanders, the command sergeants major, the colonels. They come out and they put on an apron and they serve the holiday meal to the soldiers. And you get to say hi and shake hands and have that face-to-face interaction that you normally don't get unless you're a smoker and you know which smoke pit to hang out at.
Yep.
Right. And that I always thought that was really, really cool. And when I saw Donald Trump handing McDonald's to-go bags out the drive-through window, it had very much that vibe to me. This is the boss coming down and putting on the apron and serving the people.
You know, it was a mimetic masterstroke. Okay, and you know, truth be told, the online meme team, okay, 4chan, and you know, all the other guys on the dissident right, okay, basically the dissident right in general online, that's responsible for a lot of the right-wing content, especially the memes that you know we all see that kind of originate in 4chan and other places kind of on the edge of the clear net, and then you know trickle their way down finally ultimately to you know find their to see it on Facebook, okay, normie places like that. But yeah, mimetic masterstroke. When I saw that the Trump, you know, hanging out the window, basically waving like he's the manager, and that's when I knew. That's when I knew the election was in the bag. So you're saying about you know, soldiers on Thanksgiving, okay? What we would do, okay, is I would always invite like at least one, most likely two soldiers who are in the barracks, like junior enlisted. They would always come over to, you know, have Thanksgiving with us at our house. That was something we always did.
Yeah, to the greatest extent possible, I try to do that as well. I extended that invitation to a few soldiers this year, and was declined because we're just way too far away from the base. And I get it, guys, I get it. And some of them have already made plans with other friends for the same thing. But you know, if there's a soldier that you can bring to the table, somebody who's away from home, away from his family, y'all, that's a big one. That's a huge one that we really appreciate.
Striker at a Army ball. It's maybe it's the same in the Marines, but it's always the oldest soldier and the youngest soldier have to cut the cake together.
Mm-hmm. So I was never in the military, but actually, Chris, your mother and father gave me one of the best Thanksgiving memories I've ever had. And so a few years ago, I was going through a particularly nasty divorce, and I think it's fair to say that my life was in absolute free fall, like absolute free fall. And just the simple fact that your parents were like, "Well, you're going to be here for Thanksgiving, right?" And it was like, "Yes,
I am now."
I'll absolutely be there for Thanksgiving. just that simple fact. It's goes a long way. It's like, oh man, I could be part of a family. Wow. Oh, sure. Let's do that.
Yeah, Thanksgiving at Maul's house is hard to beat.
Well, you know, when you go somewhere and there's a roast turkey and a grilled turkey, it's like, ooh, we might have to.
Yeah,
oh, well.
that turkey smoked on hardwood, spatchcocked, and
yeah, that's good stuff.
I don't like smoked food. I like roasted turkey or deep fried turkey, but I don't get the smoker thing. I don't get the appeal.
Well, It tastes good.
I don't even know what to say to that. Like that.
Yeah, you're allowed to be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the extent of your failure here is beneath ridicule. I can't even break into it.
Yeah, if Frank Herbert were still alive, he could write a trilogy about it. Like it's.
Yeah, I don't like the smoke flavor. And
yet, what are you going to do the
gives me power.
second we're off the stream?
I can't explain how, but yeah.
I don't like the smoke flavor, but I'm going to go through 2 packs a day.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I've already exceeded my limit. Okay, with the cigarettes. So, just that 1 extra microgram. Okay, from the turkey, it's too much. Puts me over the line.
Okay, so Mario, what are you thankful for, sir?
I don't know. Every day for me is basically Groundhog Day. So it's the same routine. Pretty boring existence. So.
So you're thankful for stability?
Just the cliche things like my kids, my family. I guess that's it. But no, I'm not particularly thankful for anything this year.
Wow. Way to miss the point.
Victory. My man. We should be thankful for that.
Yeah, we could have Vice President Wine Mom Spit Roast about to ascend to the office of the presidency from a fortified election. Like, there's the very same people that you mocked could be looking down their nose at you for Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh yeah, yeah. It could be, Oh,
look, you're
on the other foot. I don't know. I don't know how I would behave at Thanksgiving. And then
I appreciate your commitment to the bit, but I think you can take the hat off. It's clearly stressing you out.
The problem is, I got this hat at Walmart. Okay, it's a cheap pimp hat. All right, and then I took black felt and some cotton balls and built a stack. All right, and then I took an old belt and put the belt around it. Right. The problem is the hat does not fit my head. Most hats don't fit my head. All right, and my headphones don't fit my head either. So I'm trying to arrange.
Whatever he's done, he's muted himself.
No, he's muted his microphone.
Or maybe he broke it.
Mario, I think you broke your microphone.
Oh, no, Jesus, put the hat back on. Or at least
You're ruined, Mario. Yeah, you muted your mic.
I did. Now I'm back.
There you are.
But anyway, not bad for crafting something with just random Walmart parts, right?
Right. Hey, look, that's how movie production works. Like,
it's a valuable skill set.
Yep.
It is. Ask Tom Savini what you could do with corn syrup and food dye.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I have my name set up as the $58 meal in reference to, what did Frank Luntz, who originally put that out?
The statistic comes from the Farm Bureau.
But he was the first big prominent name I saw to post it on social media, where you could feed 10 people for $58. And I could spend $58 just taking my family to Panda Express. I don't know where the fuck you get Thanksgiving dinner for $58.
I love, if you go through the list, the funniest one for me, like he actually lists out the ingredients and the prices. The funniest is peas. So we're talking 10 people, and he has 16 ounces of peas. So like, what is that? Like a teaspoon? You get a teaspoon of peas. May I please have some more, sir? No. Like,
yeah, you've got. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, 16 ounces of green peas. So roughly 1 1/2 ounce of peas per person.
1 spoon of peas.
Yeah, and they say they're talking about, you got a 16-pound turkey. Okay, 16 pounds of turkey for 10 people. Okay, fair.
That's about right. Yeah.
12 ounces of cranberries.
1 slice.
3
No seconds.
pounds of sweet potatoes. A half a pound each of carrots and celery for 84 cents. No, you didn't. You did not get a half a pound of carrots and celery for 84 cents in 2024. That didn't happen anywhere. 16 ounces of green peas, already covered that. 2 9-inch pie shells. 14 ounces of cube stuffing. I'm not even sure what that is. 1 dozen dinner rolls, because we all eat 1 roll with dinner.
Yeah.
30 ounces of pumpkin pie mix. So you get 2 pumpkin pies, 1 gallon of whole milk, and a half pint of whipping cream. I'm sorry. Everybody's just drinking ice water.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and a half pint of whipping cream.
Yeah,
That's again with the cooking, but guys, a half pint of whipping cream. Like, you ever notice how when people get pumpkin pie, like the ratio of whipped cream to pumpkin pie is strictly 1-to-1. If you have a half-inch layer of pumpkin pie, you have a half-inch layer of whipped cream on top of it. A half pint of whipping cream will not cover 2 9-inch pies.
No,
it will not.
There are no mashed potatoes.
no glass of wine.
What
No
kind of
gravy.
combination would serve this Thanksgiving?
No, you got to have some
real,
rice.
And the green peas are the only green vegetable on the list.
Yeah, and look, and you got to have rice or potatoes or something to soak up all the extra gravy. That's and yes, I know, like turkey. Part of the reason why turkey tastes good is you add the gravy. Sue me. It's a gravy delivery device, but you've got to have the rice or the potatoes to soak up the rest of the gravy. And
This looks like your Thanksgiving. The food comes pre-prepared by Cisco Food, and we're talking like this is like a federal institution. Thanksgiving.
you went to a food pantry and they gave you one of those boxes that's got like the ice crystals forming around the sides of it.
This is like a free school lunch for poor kids. Thanksgiving. This is like, or like a prison Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Look, I wish
make you some prison punch out of the pumpkin.
Look, I wish I could eat for these kinds of prices. But that's, this goes back to so many things. Honestly, I mean, excuse me for just dragging it right back into politics and presidential politics, but gaslighting like this is part of why Donald Trump won. Because you reach a certain point where it's like, oh man, the same people that are telling me that Donald Trump is Cheeto Hitler, that he is simultaneously one of the dumbest people to ever ascend to the office of presidency, but is also smart enough to run this whole complex scheme to involve Vladimir Putin somehow to steal the election. The same people that are telling me that are also telling me that, it doesn't cost me $200 every time I park in the Walmart parking lot. I don't even have to go into the store. I just park. And it's like, it magically gets deducted from my bank account. Oh, you just thought about buying eggs and fabric softener. That'll be $30.
How does Frank Luntz even get published anymore? I mean, I'm old enough to remember this guy over the years. Okay, like he hasn't been right about anything since Bush got reelected in 2004. I'm serious. Like, look him up. He's been wrong about literally everything.
I don't know if he's been right or wrong. Ever since he started wearing that toupee, I can't hear the words that are coming out of his mouth. It's I just see that toupee like glaring at you. Like,
he's also Kevin McCarthy's roommate, like for a number of years in Washington D.C., which is odd. Not sure what was going on there.
Look, Steve says potatoes stick the rice up your anyway. Look, I prefer potatoes, and as I said, I'm making roasted garlic mashed potatoes. So I hear you. I'm just saying that rice is acceptable. It will be served on many tables this Thanksgiving. It will soak up a lot of gravy.
No, it's
Call
unacceptable.
it this.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah,
Rice and gravy. Like, what is this? What is this? Like Gerber stage 2 food? This is baby food. I'm not eating that.
Okay, so let's talk about what it actually cost. This is according to Lending Tree, right? So based on actual calculations of numbers and everything, according to the latest Lending Tree survey of nearly 2,050 U.S. consumers, Thanksgiving hosts plan to spend on average $431 on Thanksgiving dinner. That's food, drinks, and decor. That's up 20%, almost 20%, 19% from last year. And a third of those people say that doing so is a financial strain, which may put them in debt.
Yeah, spending $400 on one fucking meal is a strain. Like, that's just how things work in the real world. I'm old enough to remember when my half of the rent in a luxury apartment was $400.
I've got a family issue. I got to go. So happy Thanksgiving, guys.
All right, later,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Just leave. I'll kick you out. Okay. I hope everything's okay. We'll hear back from him later, and we'll get an update later, I'm sure. But
he said family, so everything's going to be all right, or it's not.
Yep. Or maybe he just has to poop. He didn't want to admit it.
I have a family issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe, maybe his Aunt Flo is visiting. It is the holidays after all.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. God, now that Mario's not here, we can really talk shit about him. He complains. Yeah, he complains about how early the show is, and yeah.
And sometimes the only thing for it is to ridicule.
Yeah, and we're losing people in the chat too. Monsieur One Eye says he must go sous chef, and yeah, his wife can cook, and if she says be my sous chef, I'm gonna say yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Hand me the onions, I will start chopping. Yeah, absolutely, because she will do things like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna make some chocolate and Guinness flavored brownies if you want one, and it's like. Yeah, I think I do.
Kind of lost the thread there. I think. I mean, we are an hour. We are at 1 hour. You about ready to call it?
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about how expensive Thanksgiving dinner is, and how legit this is part of why Trump won, because these people were gaslighting you. They spent all this time telling you Joe Biden was fine when he clearly was not. You don't go that far into dementia overnight. One of the most painful things about dementia, of course, is that it's progressive. You watch somebody that you care about just get a little worse and a little worse and a little worse, and there's just not a lot you can do about it. He didn't get that bad overnight. These same people tell you he's fine. These same people tell you that Donald Trump is evil. And these same people tried to tell you, no, really. Oh, my God, that's fantastic. Well played, Sean. Well played. These same people trying to tell you, oh, look, inflation has slowed down. You're fine. Hold up. Hold up. So I'm less sick now than I was just a little while ago. Okay. Got it. And that's part of why he won. Like, you can't argue with people that go to the grocery store and literally look at ramen and go, God, really? Ramen cost this much?
Yeah, I remember when ramen was 13 cents a metric ton. If you were poor, you could live on it.
Yeah, like you'd literally go by the pallet. You know, that box that came with like 24, and it was like
Yep.
$5.80, you know, or whatever it was. Like, just
You know what? I still get the pallet of ramen. I got a bunch of kids, but we don't do those flavor packets are basically nothing but salt. So what I'll do is I'll boil them just long enough so they loosen up, so they stay super al dente, and then I take them out to the griddle with a half, because I mean I'm feeding a bunch of people, so I'll throw a half a dozen eggs on there with them, and sesame oil and like just stir fry veggie mix, some eggs, throw the ramen on there, killer.
bro, those hey, look, those packets of frozen stir fry veggies are a cheat code.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
they're fantastic. Fan-bloody-tastic. So,
yeah. I do the lo mein or fried rice on the griddle with just cheap ramen noodles or leftover rice and whatever protein. If it's just like, hey, I need to slap something together for lunch, we have rice left over from last night, I keep a bunch of those packs of that frozen stir fry mix with the water chestnuts in it.
yes, I hear you. I hear you. So let me just say, because you're right, we're not quite an hour. We had technical difficulties and started a few minutes late.
We was delayed.
Yeah. In all seriousness, a little bit of genuflection is a good idea today. Appreciate the things that you have. Appreciate the fact that you are going to see people, even if you don't like some of these people. You wouldn't exist unless they existed. A lot of our traditions about this holiday are, there's a bit of a chicken and an egg here. Like, would Thanksgiving exist if the reasons for Thanksgiving existing did not already exist? And that's something really worth considering. The relative peace and prosperity, even though Joe Biden was a terrible president and we had all the inflation, and like here in North Georgia, housing prices freaking doubled in under 5 years. It actually makes affording basic things extremely challenging for people like me. I don't work 3 jobs because I like working 3 jobs. However, I live in a world where I can work 3 jobs and I can pay my bills. I am going to have a full belly today. I am going to spend time with people that are going to appreciate my presence today. And it is going to be a mostly peaceful affair. And it will be for so many of us. And thinking about the fact that that exists and thinking about why it exists and refusing to ignore the fact that there is a spiritual component to that. Don't do that. Actually think about all of it in context, that maybe there actually is a higher power that will bless you if you will allow it.
Yep. Y'all, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching this morning. I hope you have a wonderful day with your families. We love you, and we will see you, and I think I mean we'll see you tomorrow.